In this lesson, we're going to talk about an important compositional principle that is used in landscape drawing and painting. And here's the principle. In every successful landscape, there is a strong separation between what's in front, what's in the middle, and what's in the back. So if I'm doing a landscape, I'll have something that is very close, perhaps some grass, maybe a fallen tree trunk, more grass, some mushrooms, more grass, maybe a bush here. And then there's going to be a strong separation between what's really close and what's in the middle. So we can have some kind of grouping of trees. A pond. Some kind of path running through the image. And then we're going to have a background. So it could be some kind of forest in the distance, a mountain range, some clouds, a clear foreground, a clear middle ground, and a clear background. So when I'm out and about looking for subject matter, I'm always going to seek out compositions, subject matter, that have a clear separation between what's in front, what's in the middle, and what's in the back. Which means that if I'm doing a subject where there's nothing in the foreground, so imagine some kind of field where there's nothing but gentle grass, something that has very little detail, very little texture. And then the majority of the detail in my image is concentrated towards the back. That's going to have a flattening effect on the composition and create something that is less visually compelling. Right? A composition that is background, middle ground heavy. Conversely, if for whatever reason I choose a composition where I'm staring into a bunch of bushes or a bunch of trees that completely block out any middle ground or background, this is a composition that is foreground heavy and also creates a sense of flatness. It doesn't allow the eye to enter into the image. So the general principle is that, well, depth is compelling, obviously, but the whole purpose of a foreground is to send the eye back in space and allow it to travel through the middle ground and eventually get to the background and back again. So an image with no foreground doesn't have an entryway into the composition. Your eye is kind of blocked from looking at the image inside, and again, it creates a less compelling effect. Now, here is the problem. Nature very rarely cooperates with you entirely, meaning that when I'm looking for subject matter, you rarely see these kinds of very clear separations between foreground, middle ground, and background. Right? Nature can be very overgrown, or it could be just incredibly complex, where there's a series of foregrounds, a series of backgrounds, or there's some kind of gradual transition from foreground to middle ground. There's no clear separation. In those situations, which happen more often than not, it's going to be up to you to create clarity, to separate the foreground, the middle ground, and the background, and make sure those things are very clear and crisp in your image. So that's mainly what this lesson is about. I'm going to choose a subject where there's a little bit of a lack of clarity between the foreground, middle ground, and background, and then enforce that clarity onto the image. So I'm going to show you how to do that right now. Okay, so I have the reference in front of me, and as you can see, the scene here is fairly overgrown. It's one of the problems of living in Southern California. We have really nice climate, but the nature here tends to be very busy. Lots of different kinds of plants, and the foliage is very, very dense, which often creates a lack of clarity. So we're going to try to impose, once again, that clarity onto the image with a few tricks. Mainly what I'm going to be doing something is forcing the depth. I'm going to be forcing the sense of depth in the image. So let me get out my pencil. Let's do a little bit of sketching before I ink this and show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so to shrink this down, I'm going to work a little bit smaller. Let's move this over. This way my reference image is going to be on this side. And I'm going to try as much as possible not to move the sketch over so that I don't obscure it with the reference image.